Anyone else just release a fat sigh every time we see something Paper Mario related now? I try not to let it set in, but God! So, the other day we received some information from a reporter who seemingly played a bit of Paper Mario, the Origami King. He either demoed it or got an early review copy and answered whatever general questions he was allowed to. As we've heard multiple times and as we've seen in some posted gameplay, there is no experience points to be gathered, only coins. Someone on Twitter asked what the purpose of battling was, and he replied with, "Fantastic question. I started running past them when I can." And that one sentence right there has set in every possible worry that everyone's ever had for this game. See, for a good amount of people, that question can also translate to, what's the purpose of playing the game? I'm sure a lot of you would say that's dramatic or jumping the gun, but hear me out. Think about your favorite turn-based battle game. For this instance, let's use Dragon Quest, one of the most simple and most well-known turn-based RPGs of all time. What exactly does everyone like about Dragon Quest? There's a lot here actually. The characters, for example. Each individual you run into is unique or diverse, usually a character with a background. The main cast usually consists of people you could pick out from a crowd. Its story is usually interesting, engaging, and gives you that ending that gives you that feeling of, I did it! We won, bruh! But what would you say is the most important part of that? The gameplay? Sure, but what about the gameplay makes the series so great? What is it about these battles that are so engaging and Oh, it's the experience! You get something out of every battle. Items, money, and experience. You grow, you get better, and the journey becomes worth it. By the end, you're patting yourself on the back saying, I worked for this. I earned this thick-ass dub. Now, let's take the experience points and leveling up out of Dragon Quest entirely. That sting a little bit? Did that idea bug you at all? How come? Is it because maybe the idea of leveling up is more satisfying? Well, that's unfortunate.
But you can still get items from battle, right?
Oh, items? Oh, no need for that. You could just purchase them all at the next town with the thousands of coins that you earned from the first 3 battles of the game. And now you can hold as many items as you want.
But Dragon Quest has always been like that. The purpose of the RPG has been eradicated.
Well, welcome to our glimmering world of Paper Mario. I apologize for my childish outburst. This was supposed to be a civil discussion and I've turned it into a rant. You know what? I'ma stay petty though. So, with that explanation, I'm sure you can at least see the viewpoint of those who enjoyed the earlier games in the series, right? To put it simply, the last 2 games in the series have been completely void of experience points, and most if not all items are obtained in the overworld. You do earn money through battles, which is fine, but you earn so much that by mid-game, you appear to be at damn near millionaire status, and nothing ever seems to be expensive enough to even dent those pockets. And that's if you even believe anything is worth buying. So, based on the information we received and any gameplay clips we've gotten, it's kind of clear to me that by the middle of the game or so, we're gonna probably end up avoiding so many battles that however many hours we're expected to be playing the game gets gutted by damn near half. Sure, there's a good chance that if we don't spend time properly learning the battle system that we're gonna get swashbuckled by bosses, but think about it, this is Nintendo we're talking about. Very rarely do they let us cross a busy street without a tight grip on our hands. Keep in mind that this is a game meant for all ages, as well as newcomers who are getting an introduction to Paper Mario, so I can't imagine fighting a f***ing tape dispenser is gonna be all that deep. He did mention that the bosses were neat, and that's cool and dandy and all, but having every other battle besides bosses be completely tedious and useless? That just hurts your own game. We're now at a point where we begin to think to ourselves, why even have overworld enemies if they serve me little to no purpose? Instead of seeing common enemies as a mechanic to help you learn and grow and feel more successful with each battle, we now see them as an optional obstacle that more or less just takes time away that we could be putting into literally anything else. With such an important element missing from the fray, that just means that our attention to everything else is going to be magnified like tenfold. Because now about 40 to 50% of the gameplay feels useless, we're going to look towards other things to keep us drawn towards the game, specifically overworld puzzle exploration and the story. Now, I can't just speak on those yet. I haven't seen enough to give any real thoughts on it. We've obtained some neat new mechanics that look quite promising, but I'm going to leave that verdict up to the game itself. So, what are we left with here? A potentially really fun battle mechanic that's actually quite neat, but ultimately wasted on the small decision of not including one crucial reason to participating in it. Incentive. I actually do believe that this battle mechanic is a very new and fresh idea, a concept that I can't even begin to imagine has been thought of almost anywhere else. However, we can clearly see how much time and brain power is going to be necessary going into each and every battle, but with no incentive or rewards coming out of each battle, we're going to end up in the mindset of, why not save my items, energy, time, and brain power for the battles that matter? Trust me, I'd love to be proven wrong on this here. You think I want to actively sigh, groan, moan, and bitch every time I get forced into a battle with a Goomba? No, but I have no control if that ends up happening. There are moments within the gameplay that made it clear that there are times that we have to battle to get confetti and stuff, which may or may not be crucial to progression. But that's the problem. It shouldn't ever feel like a mandatory chore. Hating something and then being forced to try it or forced to like it is only going to make people resent it entirely. I don't want to see that happen, but unfortunately, this is the third time in a row that this path has been followed. By technicality, this game isn't listed as an RPG, so you could say that in a way, this makes the no experience argument valid. However, what the hell is the point of a turn-based battle system in an adventure game then? At least in Super Paper Mario, they were honest and kept it real. It was a platformer puzzle adventure game. Clearly not the best, but it definitely deemed itself far from the worst, and yet, it's the only game in the series that doesn't have turn-based battling. Think about for a second why that is. It's because they focused on the incentive. That game was story-driven through and through, and it's debatably one of the better written games in the entire series. Not only this, but they focused on the adventure platformer puzzle aspect. You had to think plenty, you had to move plenty, and sometimes you had to act fast. That game didn't act like it was something that it wasn't. It focused on what it was, and that's why it shined in its own unique way. Now, I won't say that this game gets a big fat F on the test or anything. Way too early for that. I need to see things for myself, but I have a right to develop my early opinions based on what I've seen. There are directions that they took that are definitely improvements from the previous two entries, that much is clear. However, they seem to be stuck in their only new mechanics to keep things fresh mindset, and still somehow taking inspirations from the two games people weren't fond of in the series. It's an outstanding feat to go this out of their way to blatantly ignore the problem. This isn't a if it ain't broke don't fix it type situation. It's quite obviously broken, but let's keep trying it until it works situation. Which is fairly infuriating considering that the longer they think this way, the harder it is for people to collectively enjoy the Paper Mario games without the older generation of fans and the newer generation of fans going to war non-stop about which versions of the series is better. I will say this, if it weren't for the fact that I was a content creator, this game would have been passed up without a second thought. I've gained enough of an understanding to have an idea of how I'm going to feel about this game by the end of it. However, it's a grind out here, and we stop for nothing. I'm going to do everything in my power to give this game a fair shake, but I can't sit here and say that I'm not already slightly disappointed so far. RPGs are amongst my favorite genre of games, if not my all-time favorite, so to see it blatantly mocked and flat out ignoring such simple possibilities to make this a turn-based battle masterpiece just stings. And that's a sting that's going to sit with me until the next game, Paper Mario, Warriors of Clay, where we have to fight giant mugs and flower pots to save our clay-absorbed princess. That is absolutely the dumbest idea I've ever come up with. Nintendo, please do this series some justice one day, for the love of God. Wow, yet again, it looks like you've somehow made it to the end of the video. This was a very vicious rant, and I feel like I've talked about the problem with Paper Mario a million times, whether it be with my friends or on videos or whatever, even though I haven't uploaded that many videos on this channel regarding Paper Mario. We are going to be doing a lot of Paper Mario focused stuff on this channel when it comes on the 17th, what is it, this next Friday or whatever. So there's going to be a lot of Paper Mario content on this channel within the next week, so you know, stick around if you want to see, you know, my real-time thoughts and reactions and everything regarding Paper Mario and the Origami King. Because regardless as to how I feel about the game, I am picking it up and doing as much content on it as I possibly can when it comes down to, you know, playthroughs and maybe some guides and, you know, maybe some other stuff here and there. Probably, most likely a review, knowing me. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But, you know, regardless as to how I feel about this game, or regardless as to how everybody else feels about this game, don't bag on people for how they feel about the game. If they like the game, they like the game. If they don't like the game, they don't like the game. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And, you know, it is a little early to set a verdict, but people do have the right to not spend their money on the game if they don't believe that it looks good. You know what I mean? And they do reserve that right. You know, can they say that the game is bad when they haven't completely played through all of it for themselves? I mean, they can. It's kind of, you know, whack to do something like that, but again, it's their call. You know what I mean? It's very hard to argue that. So, but you know, at the end of the day, everybody has their opinion, and if you don't like it and you don't want to pick it up, that's completely up to you. Your choice here is respected. But you know, tell me what you guys think about Paper Mario and everything that we've seen so far. How do you guys feel about the battle system? Do we need experience points? Do we still not need experience points? Are we better off without it? Like, what is your overall thoughts on Paper Mario and the Origami King? I actually do want to know. I'm very curious. So, with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and skedaddle. So, I want to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the good favor of dropping a like and a comment and subscribing for more content just like this one, as well as following me on Twitter and Instagram for more updates on whatever videos are coming next. And with that, I'm going to pop on out. So, do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!